guys, it is your girl Shan Strong, and today I've got an awesome video for you peeps. Okay, now this is one of the holy grail of the reason why you work out, to look aesthetic. Yes, we all say that this person is aesthetic as hell or this person is really aesthetic, but how do you really define it? How do you really tell whether one person is aesthetic and the other is not? Is aesthetic something that really differs from person to person, or is there one hard-cut formula that you can use to judge whether a person is aesthetic or not? Alright, so let's just define what aesthetics is. Okay, the definition is of relating to art or beauty. Okay, very simple. Now aesthetics doesn't just refer to bodybuilding and physiques. Okay, anything and everything can be aesthetic, from monuments to buildings to plants, statues, and even the freaking galaxy. Okay, but this is a fitness channel, so we are only concerned with the human form. Now you can see two figures on screen. Okay, evidently one is more aesthetic than the other, but what gives? Okay, they both have muscles, so how are we saying that one is more aesthetic than the other? It's quite simple. Okay, when it comes to bodybuilding and physique, apart from posing and personality, it all boils down to proportions and symmetry. Okay, so first let's talk symmetry. I'm gonna throw up another image on screen of the legendary bodybuilder. We all know him, Frank Zane, who in my opinion had one of the greatest physiques of all time. Okay, conditioned, streamlined, and symmetrical, and also goes to show that size is not such an important thing when it comes to aesthetic body. If you draw a line down the body, you will see just exactly what I mean when I say that symmetry helps with having an aesthetic physique. Okay, from the abs to the quads, you can see both lateral sections almost look identical to the other. Let's take a look at another bodybuilder. This is Serge Nubret, and again you can see the reason why he was one of the greats. Okay, if you look at most of the classical physiques, you will see that they share symmetrical bodies. The next point I want to touch is proportions, and this is very closely related to the golden ratio. Okay, you see ancient mathematicians had found this particular ratio in nature almost everywhere, and ancient artists used to use this particular ratio in their work to create aesthetically pleasing creation. So the golden ratio is 1.618, which means there is an ideal ratio of body type to create an aesthetic physique. I'm going to throw up another figure on screen. This was actor and bodybuilder Steve Reeves, who had one of the most proportionate physiques out there. Okay, now calculating ratios and proportions for bodybuilding has to do with measurements of certain body parts. Okay, for example, your waist to shoulder ratio should be 1:1.5. I'm going to throw the chart on screen for those interested. So now that we know how important symmetry and proportions are, where does that leave us? And more importantly, we are yet to discuss the more important part, genetics. Okay, we are all a blueprint, right? Our skeletal system, our muscle bellies, our insertions, no matter what, that is something you can't change. So what does that mean? Just because we don't have the correct proportion or the correct symmetry, we may never have that aesthetic body? Absolutely not. Okay, given that symmetry and proportions are very, very important to achieve that ideal aesthetic physique, you have two choices. Either you can give up your training and accept that you will never have that aesthetic physique, or you can make the most of what you have. You see, the exact definitions of aesthetic means of relations to art or beauty. Okay, so what might be beautiful for one person might not be the same for other. Everyone has their own taste and opinions. I know this video didn't really answer any questions, but I do hope that it gave you a little insights into aesthetic and what it means and takes to be aesthetic. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I surely enjoyed talking to you about it, and if you liked it, do like and share and subscribe to my channel if you still haven't. Stay aesthetic, stay strong.